All right, so going over day 2, our previewing, actually that's what it should be, previewing day 2. So we got defensive backs, got corners, safeties, tight ends today starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Should be going until at least 8 o'clock. I think we went over yesterday. I didn't get to see everything, but a lot of predictions came true. I'm not like patting myself on the back. There were a decent amount of surprises, but I think the big, I guess, of all the predictions that we were I was expecting to see yesterday, I was kind of surprised with the number of guys who really didn't do a damn thing except their position drills on, which is, I mean, I'll give them that. At least they were doing position drills. But a lot of guys opting out of doing any sort of athletic testing, and the amount of guys that just did their frontal plane stuff. So 40-yard and then both broad and vertical. So frontal plane, which, I love the combine, especially the athletic testing because it's, my profession really, right? So, but I also understand that it's probably smart to be just doing all the frontal stuff because essentially when you're training for the 40 and you're training vert and broad, that's easy because you're like almost the training to get better at those things, not maybe the technical side of it, but the physical beasting, getting those things, pushing those numbers, get them up. That's all very similar. The 40 helps the vert helps the broad helps the vert, broad helps the 40 and vice, like all those connections. Hip extension, knee, you're basically working triple extension the whole time. Hip, knee, and ankle. Like those are the things that make those things go. So makes sense if those things are looking great, you test out. If none of those are looking great, you just come up with like, I've got a slight bruise on my ankle, heel and knees a little tight, or low back pain or something like that. Hip flexor pull, something. I don't know. Come up with something. And then the amount of guys that just didn't do their 3-cone and shuttle. But out of yesterday, I actually haven't gone through a lot of the results. I did watch most of the 40s. I'm not very surprised. I mean, James Pierce, nice to see that he got under 4.5. And like I said yesterday, he's a guy that really needs to, I mean, he did put up a good number. We'll see. I don't know if he's going to do bench today, but he did put up some good numbers yesterday for his 40. He needs it. He needs to boost some draft stock because some of the questions off field. Anybody else? Jihad Campbell, I was expecting around 4.5. Great to see him do that. I think probably the biggest surprise for me was Danny Stutzman. Him getting down to 4.2. Now, looking at his face, I have to actually go check what his weight came in at. It looks like he dieted down a lot. So we'll see what his actual, his listed weight versus actual measurable weight. See if he's dropped about 10 or 15 pounds to improve those numbers. But we'll do all the power rankings later on. Diggs had a good day. That was, I mean, I had him at around 4.6, so 4.57, a little bit of a surprise there. Demetrius Knight, another guy that I'm pleasantly, again, I had him like in the 4.6s, but 4.58, definitely take that. Smale is expecting a little faster, but that's not bad. Shamar, although people are pointing out that oh man, look at him. I wasn't surprised. Have you seen the guy play? Guy's first step and hip extension, triple extension's a phenomenal. Let's see. Tyler had a great day. I mean, most of these guys are, I was expecting, like Tyler, I said 4.6, so 4.62. Birch right there, both him and Landon. These were essentially my two favorite edge guys for the Patriots because they can both play. Again, they're in terms of replacing players, potentially replacing players, it'd be Dietrich Wise for both of them, but then also they both can play inside if Barmore is a no-go. Or if you obviously need to switch up your fronts too, right? Both testing out very well. Landon Jackson, I think, had the highest or second highest vert. Physical freak. Shamar James had a decent day. I was expecting a little more from him. David Walker. Then, there was actually, once we got to here for linebackers, I was hoping a 4.7 for Jay Higgins, but, when I was watching him move, and I didn't see his other testing, I don't know if he's done any, but when you watch him do his positional drills, he looks great. So, I mean, if you want to knock him for not having a top-end 40, okay, maybe, he can't really be on special teams, but which obviously will hurt his draft stock, but as a instinctual middle linebacker that you want, controlling your defense and locking down the run. Still, I haven't moved off that at all. I'd gladly take him early day 3. Ty Robinson, I was very impressed. Now, I was thinking 4.9, maybe a little bit over 5. 4.83. Now, the other thing I would point out is that it looks like Ty's actually slimmed down substantially. Big, I mean, muscle-wise, it's not like it doesn't look like he's lost. I mean, he's been working obviously very hard, but I was going on the impression that he'd be closer to like the 290s in here. I think he came in at like 280, which will help that out, right? Obviously, a little bit faster, a little power index and everything will probably support him moving a little bit faster. So, but still, 4.83 for a guy that size and that long, great. I don't know if that really helps him out in terms of promoting himself as a D tackle, but it does support my thesis, which is, you can play him out wide. Now, is he like a wide 9? No, but 5s, maybe even playing some situational D end, kind of like Chris Jones-ish, just like kind of cracking down on the inside there, from the outside in, sorry. Anybody else have a really great day? Or Darius Alexander for his size and height and his limbs. That's moving. That's a lot of power output. Sub 5 for him. Great. Same thing with Derek. CJ West, physical freak. So a lot of guys having Farmer. That's okay. I was hoping he'd be a little bit closer than that. Same thing with Bagese. Not bad. I was hoping Yaha would get a little bit closer. Same thing with Elijah, but both of those guys are huge individuals. 330, 340s. Same thing with, but hey, look, Cam Jackson. I think, although he definitely looks like he dropped a decent amount of weight, these are the bigger dudes anyway. So the power index might actually support this whole grouping right here, minus JJ. JJ, I was hoping to get a little bit closer to 5 and maybe even sub, but that's okay. I mean, I really like him as a player. Now, what's interesting is someone pointed out that yesterday he did some fullback. He was doing Wildcat stuff at Ole Miss, so he had a decent amount of off it. So him as like a potential fullback, it might be a little much, but I don't know. Why not? I don't know. If he can play both sides with maybe a 60-40, 70-30 offense to defense, if you go that route. But maybe you bring him in for those third and shorts, goal line situations, and have him, do that. And then maybe you can get him to work a little bit more. Now, he had some versatility at Ole Miss up and down the line, but maybe you can get him to do a little bit more than that. If he's got the IQ and mentality and the willingness to do it, yeah, absolutely. I don't know. He's the one I'm like, I don't know where you do it, because I'm not really sold on him as like some sort of phenomenal D tackle. I think because of this D tackle class, you can probably pick 1 or 2 like play styles, obviously techniques that you're looking for, and go and get the one that you want at the proper valuation. And then you can also pick up some guys who can do some versatility, or maybe they're super niche guys. Like, for example, I'll go back down to, both, Yaha can play out wide, but like both these guys are just big dudes that can definitely clog up the middle for you. And same thing with Cam Jackson. And if you are going to be getting rid of Godchow, and not necessarily always looking to replace him because maybe you're moving away from having a guy like Godchow and gapping it up. But again, like I said yesterday, it's not a bad idea maybe to have one at least on your practice squad, because hey, you're going to want to at least practice against somebody, because you're going to run at least against one defense that still employs that type of strategy. And what happens if they develop, or maybe you think, hey, we're going against this type of team this weekend, you can elevate one of those guys for a few weeks or 2 weeks or whatever it is. So anyway, that's from yesterday. So that's edge, and they have the linebacker, so it's all grouped together. All right, so let's see 3 cone real quick. Donovan Izaraku, that's a decent number. So edge, what would be Edge's 90th? That would be close to 3 cone. Yeah, it's not there. I mean, it's a good 3 cone out of who tested out, but yeah, that's telling me basically no one put up a good 3 cone if that's the best one thus far. Because Edge, you're probably looking for a 3 cone around 6'8", if not under, especially at that size. So Jay Higgins, I mean, for linebacker, 3 cones, probably around 6'8". So although not bad, like I said, he definitely looked good in his positional drills. So that shows up there. Barron, that's not bad for him. I mean, these other guys, not really great to promote for linebackers. Oh, Tyler Batty. That's another name that, I pointed him out yesterday. Now, actually, where was his 40 at? I'm sorry. I'll be honest with you, I haven't really looked at this. So, I think he did like a 7.8 or something like that. Yep, there it is, 7.8. I'll keep pointing him out because he's not going to be... He's, an edge setter, but he can play a little bit inside. And, I think he's 6'5", in, 270s. Does it have his weight in here already? I'm sure they probably actually... I haven't checked this yet. 6'6", 271. Not great arm length or hand size, but a big dude. So, I like him the way he plays, and as leadership intangibles, just pop off the screen. So, let's go take a look. So, he had a decent, for his size, 270s. That's not bad for an edge guy. And like I said, he can probably play a little linebacker there as well. Am I looking at the wrong one? Yeah, we're at the 3 cone. So that's not terrible for him. I mean, you can almost start putting him in at 6'6", what was he, 270 something? I mean, the guy's probably 10, 15 pounds away from being a decent interior pass rusher, and he's heavy-handed. He jams you. He sheds blocks very easily, so I can definitely see him either being an edge setter or if you want to have him work inside. That's interesting. So he tested out a little better than I was expecting. I was around the 4.7 for his 40, but those aren't too bad for his 3 cone here. I mean, yeah, obviously we probably want to see sub 7, but not bad. Let's take a look at his 20. So 20 yard. See, that's pretty good. 4.15 for an edge is good. Linebacker slightly faster on that. You're looking for more just a flat 4. So edge not bad. Most of these other linebackers are not great. Jay Higgins again, not terrible. Barron, Walker, Ty Robinson putting up some decent numbers there. Tyler Batty. So those aren't really great. Let's see. Vertical. Yeah, so Landon took it. Yep, Teddy Buchanan. Like I said yesterday, what did he do? A 4.6 in the 40? Not surprised he jumped out of the gym. Shamar at that weight is insane, though. Carson, yeah, he didn't do the 40, though, huh? Pretty good. So, for edge, your vert, you're looking for around 36 to 38. So, that's a good number. That's crazy good. Oh, Ashton didn't do anything there, but he did the vert here. Olu did the vert too. Not great though. Now D-tackle vert, you're looking for a 33 incher. So let's see if there's anybody down there. Ty Robinson being... Anybody else get anything? Ritzy. Okay. Zeke Bigger's 30. Yeah, see, he's got some pop, so that's a good number for him. So some D tackles putting out some decent numbers there. CJ West, that's a good one. 35, you really start to separate out for D tackle. Okay. Linebackers. Linebacker, you're looking for close to 40. 38 being... So that's a good one. Good. Oh, Princely, that's a good number for him. Good for him. Power Eccles. Kind of underrated as a linebacker. One thing I watch him, he doesn't look very athletic when he plays, so showing some power is good. right, let's do broad real quick. I'm sorry I'm taking this long. Oh, wow. Shamar, that's another good number. Good. So, for broad, edge, 10-4. D-tackle, like 9-8. Linebacker, like 10-6. So, not amazing. I mean, Smail and Jihad doing well for linebacker. Teddy's in there, and these edge guys are really good. D-tackle, that's solid. I have to. How much does he weigh? Is he over 3? 276. He's. I mean, okay. Okay. Yeah, it's not really. Maybe get him on the practice squad for a little bit and see how he develops. Steve Linton did not do 40s, despite really needing to do... Did he do... He did 3 cone, he just didn't do the 40? Okay. Tyler Batty at 10, okay. Not great, but a few, yeah. So Ashton Gelati is probably the one that I'm looking here through this that I'm not really too happy about. So we'll see. I think they start soon for the bench. So, oh, here we go. This is real time. So linebackers. So anything over 26 for linebacker is pretty good. So Nick Martin, Teddy Buchanan, once again, not surprised. I pointed out Teddy Buchanan going to probably be the best athlete out of the linebackers in general. Now, we'll see if Jihad does it too. I doubt it, but I think he did enough yesterday. But Teddy, you know, when the guy was at UC Davis, I was like, this guy's going to be like under the radar. Found out he went to Cal. Good for him. I mean, he had a decent year. I'll be watching that. I should probably put that on. I haven't been watching any of it today thus far. I know well, no, they just usually recap it. They don't do live bench, do they? No, they don't. All right, so I guess what I would say is yesterday with the amount of guys, like there's a lot of big names that didn't participate yesterday. I mean, we knew Abdul wasn't going to participate. We know Cody Lindenberg wasn't going to participate. Did Collins do anything? No. Mason Graham didn't do anything. Kenneth Grant didn't do anything. Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, I don't remember him doing anything. Riley Mills injured. Jordan Phillips didn't do anything in terms of testing. Tyleek didn't do anything in terms of testing. So you're looking at like probably your top guys for defensive tackles not participating, leaving essentially Darius Alexander, Joshua Farms. Who else had a decent? I mean, yeah, of course, they're like CJ did pretty well yesterday as well. But I mean, there's just a lot of dudes that we were hoping to see that probably would have made that grouping, the defensive tackles, a lot better. Which stinks for linebackers. Jalen Walker didn't participate. And like I said, Cody Lindenberg wasn't in the mix. So out of the linebackers, it was really just Teddy Buchanan and Demetrius and Jihad really putting on a show, and everybody else. I mean, yeah, Eugene Asante and Nick Martin, they're a little bit lighter. Almost basically defensive backs. Bossa's pretty good for his size. Woodard's pretty good for his size. Carson didn't do his sprints, but he looked pretty good on his field drills, his position drills. What else? So I guess I'll come back. Before we get done, I'll come back and see if there's an update on this bench here. But let's take a look at the list for who we have for defensive backs today. The names here, I expect this grouping right here, 1, 2, 3, to have good 40s, just in general, great speed, agility, quickness, and vert across the board. For me personally, I think J.D. Barron's the second best corner in the draft. And I think he's actually, I mean, especially in terms of versatility, he can work both in and the out, slot, out wide. And the thing is that he was a safety for a while. So he's one of those guys, if for some reason he makes it to the top of the second, and you're just looking at him, you're like, this guy will find something for him to do, and he'll be good at it. I will constantly point this out. Statistically, if you're the quarterback and you thought you had to throw the ball toward, whoever J.D. was covering, you're just better off just throwing the ball into the ground, like just spiking the ball. Seriously. Like that's statistically, that's what it was like. It was a bad idea to throw in his direction this year. I'm not ultra high on Trey Amos. I think athletically, he's got good tape. I don't know. I am just not 100% him being a first rounder. I wouldn't take him at the top of the second, and I'm sure he'll probably be taken, top 50. So I doubt he'll be there for the Patriots, and not necessarily like if they were really in love with him, I wouldn't hate if they wanted to like move up out of the third to go get him, but I think it would be costly, and I doubt he'll make it. Honestly, like probably if I had to guess in the 40s. He'd probably be gone by just because there's not that many great top-end corners. And Trey, again, a little inconsistency here and there, but if you're looking towards like ceiling with a fairly decent floor, like ceiling's high, floor is pretty good too. All right, Billy Bowman, very athletic, not very big, but if you're looking for somebody to like keep you everything, put a lid on everything at the top, Billy Bowman, pretty good free safety. Definitely comes downhill hard too. Kobe Bryant, I was big on him, and then like the Shrine Bowl, I don't know. Some things just like what? Maybe it's part of his personality, but I don't know. Whatever the Shrine Bowl situation annoyed me a little bit. So, not that I'm out on him, but I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know how you act like that when you're like, yeah, I don't know. Never mind. I'll move on. Sorry. Denzel Burke. I thought at the beginning of the year this guy was probably going to be our top 5 corners, possibly top 3 and being in the first round. Just steadily slow. He's not very fast. That's the thing. But maybe that's the reason why is that like, hey, the instincts and the, awareness just doesn't cover up as much as that he needs to lack for physicality and athleticism. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully he impresses. Same thing with Sebastian Castro. I really like him as he's a good safety, solid safety, good covering the slot too. Wouldn't hate him on day 3. But again, somebody that's probably going to run high 4.5s, low 4.6s. Nick Emmanwori, if he tests out, Hairston could definitely, if he can get in the 4.4s, decent vert in the 40s, that would be good. Same thing with Jamari Harris. I think he's another guy that's kind of running, not that Hairston is, but Jamari Harris a little bit under the radar. Tommy Hill should put up decent vert numbers. I would love to see if he can get under a 4.5 for a 40. That would probably make him a little bit more attractive because he's definitely physical. Travis, hopefully he's somebody that actually gets out there. He'd be one of the ones where can he get to like that 90th percentile? So like if he can get to that 4.38 level on his 40, vert in the 40, broad around 11. If he can get sub 4 on his 20-yard, like a 3.9, and like a 6.6 on the 3 cone, that would actually possibly put him in, the conversation of like, yeah, I'm not only like skilled to play both sides of the ball, but I've got the physical tools to do both. And I wouldn't doubt it. Like I expect him to maybe not hit all those, but if he does participate, I wouldn't be surprised to see, if he does at least the 40 and maybe the vert or something like that, if we see a 4.38 and maybe a 40 for the vert. What now? Will Johnson, I don't know if he's going to participate. Again, like another guy that probably needs to get around 4.4, get close to 40 on the vert. I'd like to see what I doubt he's going to do if it's not great, but I'd like to see what he can do for like his 20-yard and his 3 cone. Because, going into the year, top 5 pick. And now some people are like, yeah, you might be able to get him like back half of the first round. It's like, I get he's not amazing. I get he's not like a freakish generational corner, but like, I can't imagine that guy dropping outside the top 10. But maybe people realize his testing numbers are just not great. Muhammad could probably do a lot of work here. Mukuba, probably going to be the fastest defensive back here. Darian Porter should be definitely under 4.5s. I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks 4.4. Siobhan, as far as I know, he's going to be cleared in the summer. So, probably just sitting around and getting his a little bit. Maybe we'll hear an update today on his time frame, maybe or new in terms of him returning to play. Starks, another guy just like Will Johnson, beginning of the year, top 10 pick. He is a safety, but again, another guy that I wouldn't be surprised if you see him in the 4.3s, 40-inch vert, broad over 11, sub 4 on the 20, 6.6 in the 3. Even for the safeties, I mean, maybe low 4.4s if he's not doesn't get a clean start, but I wouldn't be surprised if he outproduces a lot of the corners today. Upton Stout, I want to get his actual measurements. That'd be good. Dorian Strong, a little bit light, so he better be moving. Thomas, now he's one of the top corners, top 10 corners that I haven't done basically anything on. So hopefully his testing entices me or essentially forces me to go and check out his tape. I've watched a little bit, but not really spent too much time on him because I have a few names that I really like, and maybe I should be paying a little more attention to him. Because again, people are putting him as a high day 2. Some people think he's a first rounder. So I guess I should probably pay attention to that because he might be an option for the Patriots if they're really looking for a corner this year. Xavier Watts, not expecting his 40 to be great, but if his vert's in the high 30s, I'd like to see 4.44 in the 40s or under. That'd be great. Noel Williams, if you haven't watched his tape, and he's the best ball hawk in this draft. He's athletic enough, but the guy's definitely got instincts. And maybe his ball skills are not as good as Travis Hunter's or a lot of the other safeties. But as a corner / safety, Noel Williams is very intriguing to me. Kevin Winston is probably another guy that I'm going to keep an eye on. Same thing with Hunter Wooler. These guys are under the radar safeties. Same thing with Craig Woodson, except I'm a little bit higher on his ability on the field. These guys, I want to see measurements. I want to see speed. I want to see their athletic testing to formulate a stronger thesis on them. So, who should we really be? I mean, if I was to say who's probably going to test out the best, it's going to be close. If Travis does a full athletic testing, Travis and Nick Emmanwori are going to be right there. Then probably Starks after that. And then potentially Will Johnson, Mukuba, and Porter also putting up some freakish numbers. And then I wouldn't be surprised if Trey Amos or Barron or Bowman kind of slip in there and be a top 3 in a lot of other testing events. And then, maybe outside, maybe Watts has a shot at doing something, turning some heads. Tommy Hill might have a shot. I don't know if Benjamin Morrison's testing. Is he even here? I didn't even check if Benjamin Morrison. Yeah, he is. Now he's had injuries, so I don't know if he's going to participate. But if he does and he's healthy, he should have some decent numbers. All right, so that's defensive backs. Let's take a look for finally the first offensive group of the combine. Where are they? Tight ends. Here we go. So tight ends, I would put it as like a top 3 or 4 group this year. Really good in terms of depth. Some of your best receivers, pass catchers in this draft class are coming out of tight ends. Some of your best production pass catchers in college football were tight ends. I doubt Tyler Warren does anything today. It'd be interesting to see if Fannin does a full workout, if any. This could be, if Tyler Warren really does a full workout or even just does some positional drills today, it'd be nice to watch. Everybody's going to probably have their eye on Tyler. I know everybody doesn't think tight ends are, premium positions. They are a little bit. They are and they aren't, because you take a tight end and it's like, well, if he's really close to being like, a big slot receiver, and some of these guys can definitely play out wide and they run wide receiver routes, then are you gonna like sit there and be like, well, he's got TE next to his name, so even though he's just as good as some of our wide receivers, he's not worth it? It's like, well, no, come on. And then some of these guys might block. And considering being good at blocking, it's like considering the state of offensive lines in the NFL, if you can find a guy who can come in and like actually maybe put one of these edge rushers, at least disrupt them enough that they can't get to the quarterback, before he throws. That's big. That's big. All those things mean something. Again, especially so for like the Patriots. They need kind of both of those things. Now, am I going to say they need to go Tyler Warren at 4? No, but here's the thing. Again, it kind of comes down to like who's really available at 4. And is there anybody who's a little further back that wants to come up for who's left? Now, of course, the Patriots, I think, could sit there and pick a decent amount of guys that are definitely worthy of the 4th overall pick in this draft class. Because so far, I've found at least 2 guys going through deeper evaluations, and they haven't even tested out yet. So once we get through that, I'll dig in even more. But I've got 2 guys that, regardless of what you say, and I'm not talking about Travis or Abdul, there's 2 other guys so far that I've found that are definitely worth the 4th overall pick most years, right? And they're competitive in even some of the best years at their positions. So I know people like it, there's always like a lot of volatility around is it a good or bad draft, and sometimes, like I said this before, it's not a valuable draft, meaning like there's not a lot of great quarterbacks, corners, okay, wide receivers, no, not really. There's a handful. Offensive tackles, very thin at the top. The first round, like day 1 starters, these are the guys that you don't have to worry about like coming in. Like they might have a little bit of like a rocky start maybe as a rookie, but you have all the confidence in the world that they just check every box. Like first round, yeah, those types of players at those like premium positions, edge rushers, is probably the only one this year that's a like solid all the way through from top to bottom, and it's going to overflow possibly even to day 3. You got guys that some years could be arguable as like top 50 picks as edge rushers. You might get them on day 3 this year. Tight end kind of has that as well. So, and I say that because Tyler Warren, I think, is one of your better, he's different than Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is like more of a like offensive weapon. And like I said that last year, that's like, I didn't see Brock Bowers as a tight end. He's an offensive weapon. But for me, I see Tyler Warren, although, again, very similar to offensive weapon where, he's taking handoffs, going, playing quarterback, wildcat quarterback, like he's passing the ball. Like that sort of thing, yeah. But I see him as a like legitimate tight end because I see him coming in, hanging out on the trenches. You can put him out wide, obviously. And he was like Penn State's like primary go-to target, and he's one of the top receivers with yardage this year, period. And then, of course, there you go to more of the opposite, which is Harold Fannin, which is like, yeah, Harold's gonna probably be your slot guy, big joker, and he comes in, plays some H-back, sniffer position once in a while, and he does that pretty well. And his blocking's better than, most wide receivers, but it's not great. But that guy, a lot of he had some scheme touches, but he still caught the ball. He still had some really great contested catches. He's definitely worthy of, saying that he's like a solid receiver, pass catcher. Don't knock him for that. Digging deeper on other tight ends here from top to bottom, though. Elijah Arroyo should probably run the 4.6s. Wouldn't be surprised if he hits 4.5. Mitchell Evans, I think for me, I like how he plays. He's coming back from a knee from last year, the previous season. So he did look better towards the end of the season. So maybe, we're over a month removed, maybe with some, focusing in on just getting ready for the combine. He did okay at the Shrine Bowl. I don't know. He can probably boost his draft stock substantially. Fannin probably could secure his position. I think out of all these guys as athletes, today I wouldn't be surprised if you see Oronde Gadsden, Gunnar Helm show up. Yeah, Mason Taylor should probably be a freak today. And again, Tyler Warren if he does anything. Other interesting guys for their size, power, weight adjusted stuff like Robbie Oots and then Jackson Hawes. So Jackson Hawes being more of your inline guy, I'd see him possibly do some not necessarily be a fullback, but definitely working more out of the backfield. But your best blocking guys are definitely Jackson Hawes and Robbie Oots. And then probably Tyler Warren not that far after it. Bryson Nesbitt, I'd like to see if he's healthy again. So if he's running in the 4.6s. For tight ends, yeah, that 4.6 mark is kind of key. Vertical over 36 would be good. Broad around, a little bit less than 10.5. I'd say 10.3, 10.4 is pretty good. Let's see, 20 yard would be that 4.1, 4.2 area. 3 cone, anything under 7 for a tight end today would be good. And if they do their bench tomorrow, anything over 20, low 20s, 22, 23 is pretty good. But for your bigger guys, if I wouldn't be surprised if I see Oots and Jackson Hawes get over 25. Anybody else that can bang it out? Probably. CJ Dupree probably has some decent numbers. Gunnar Helm might. Luke Lachey. You know what? He's kind of, honestly, he's a top 5 tight end for me. Maybe it's just because he's not a physical freak, but he's pretty freaking good at blocking. He's a good route runner, reliable hands. I think the biggest knock on him is the injury from last season. But I didn't see any problems this year. His production wasn't great, but Iowa's offense was very reliant upon running the ball, and he helped out with that. So I guess Terrence Ferguson could probably put up a good day today. It's going to be interesting. It's probably the best ones to watch would probably be the tight end group, where you can definitely see, hopefully you start to see their testing and positional drills really start to match up with their tape and what they're expected to do. So anyway, the top performer in this one, if I had to give it a guess, if Tyler Warren goes, he should probably be up there. Then I'd probably go Mason Taylor, Oronde Gadsden. Loveland, maybe? I don't know if he's going to go. Loveland, I don't see him getting under that 4.6, but if he does get a 4.5 and he didn't drop 15 pounds, that wouldn't be bad. But yeah, I guess Arroyo would probably, you know what? It'll be a little skewed because I can imagine Arroyo just being I'm going to do broad, vert, and the 40, and I'm done. And then I'm going to get a 4.54 for the 40, and a vert of 37, broad of 10.3 or 10.4, and then he's done. And he's I'm not going to do 20s or 3 cone. Whereas somebody like I'd like to see if Bryson Nesbitt does a full testing today. That would be, he could really boost his draft stock. And again, he's North Carolina. Like last year, he was one of the primary targets for Drake May. I'm sure that's like that has to be in the back of their the Patriots' mind. And you might be able to get him late day 3, maybe even UDFA. Wouldn't be a bad move. I forget his injury. I think it's wrist or hand, elbow. Pretty sure it's upper body related. So I have to suspect we'll see him. You know, he should be able to do most of these the testing today. And then, you know, maybe we can get. I mean, I don't know about him doing the bench tomorrow, but if his position drills look nice and smooth, like he's good route runner. I don't expect him to be a freakish athlete, but when you watch him doing positional drills, he'll probably look very controlled and fluid. I'm really looking for. I keep going to Oronde Gadsden. I know if you guys have been watching my mocks, like I don't understand why people are just overlooking him. He did have like a. I don't think he had Liz Frank. Did he have broken? Did he have a broken navicular? Ankle, foot injury. And he came back. Like, he came back and had a great season this year. So, super smooth, big dude. You know, very Mike Evans-esque. Because he runs out. I mean, he does work out the slot majority of the time. But, you know, because it kind of, like, you know, at least keeps people honest. But he was out wide. He would run legitimate wide receiver routes. So, I'm rooting for him because I think let's be honest with you. Miami's probably going to grab him with their 3rd round pick. Let's just be honest. Miami probably needs another tight end. So let's see. They'll probably use him. He'll be a freak today. Jump out of the building, and Miami will grab him the 3rd or probably their 4th round pick. And the Patriots are probably not that. They're probably not going to burn a, you know, top 100, top 150 pick on a tight end this year. So, just another one of those guys that, you know he's going to be good. And, you know, we'll get a Marcellus Dial situation. Oh, yeah, he looks like he could be a good special teamer. So we'll get him. We'll draft him. Yeah, that's good. All right, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today. We got a few hours before it starts here. Before we go, D tackles, linebackers, still just linebackers. All right. Nothing yet. Okay. All right, we'll leave it there. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you guys like this content, please like and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching.